Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for Dash and Hoop's third annual Way Too Early Season Predictions. I'm your host, Dash, and I'm coming off a nice little hibernation. I arose to the sounds of late summer trades, media day mics, after a long time of being gone. And all this to say, I think it's time to go ahead and fire off my takes. Firstly, and this is just basically a reminder to NBA fans, the Memphis Grizzlies will snatch a top 8 seed in the stacked Western Conference. With the return of a fully healthy and eligible John Morant, I think what he said in this media day statement is a fact. This is the best roster they've had. With Desmond Bane and Triple J going through a whole season of not having their star, this only made them better individual players, learning how to better create their own shot, while also giving last year's rising rookie G.G. Jackson some more experience on an NBA court. This team should continue to make some noise this year. Oh, and did I mention they have former Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart on the court as well? Yeah, the squad has got some pieces. And as you guys might know, I'm not the biggest believer, but Zach Edey's on the squad too. Do with that what you will. Going to the East, I haven't taken the bait in the last 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, but I think this will be the first time for me. Go ahead and put the Philadelphia 76ers as true contenders this year. Look, I get that a lot of you might be all out on the Sixers, especially if you've been putting in any stock in them previously, but hear me out. With Embiid losing 25 to 30 pounds, his vocal commitment to doing everything possible to stay healthy for the postseason, and the addition of Paul George and the exponential improvement we've seen from Tyrese Maxey season after season, I think even with the Philly curse, these guys can pull it off. To preface, I think for them to reach their maximum potential, they have to make the hierarchy clear that Paul George is the third option through and through. Tyrese Maxey showed out in these previous playoffs and showed he deserves to be option number 2 on this offense. Also, think about it. In terms of third options, Paul George is the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's, if that made any sense. 22.5 points on 41% from 3 is what was put up by PG last year, and I assume we can expect similar numbers from the podcaster in Philly. Now, obviously, we've seen issues with injuries from JoJo and George in the past, but if we can get Maxey 100% and one of the two other guys 100% and at least availability from the other one, I think this squad can be genuine finals contenders and compete with the likes of the Bucks and Celtics in the East. Next up, my bold prediction going back out west is that Bradley Beal will end up coming off the bench by the end of the regular season. With the addition of one of my favorite players in the league, the guy who had the highest assist to turnover ratio last year, Tyus Jones, the Phoenix Suns now finally have a designated point guard, which some of us got laughed at by management last year for even asking about it. Am I crazy? I want someone to go ahead and initiate an offense that has loads of scoring? And yes, I'm aware that the Suns starting 5 as of right now will have both Jones and Beal in the starting lineup. I just don't think Devin Booker guarding all the threes in the league would translate into anything resembling defense. And don't twist my words, that's no shade to D-Book. We all saw the clamps on display during these past Olympics, but to ask him to guard the likes of LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Jason Tatum, or Brandon Ingram just doesn't make any sense to me. These group of guys can't guard Devin Booker, yes, but regardless of how strong or how good D-Book's footwork is, that's not his ideal position, leading to either having Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, or Josh Okogie to have that starting role. And I know, to have one of the highest paid players in the entire league coming off the bench does sound atrocious at face value, but what was actually atrocious was how the playoffs looked with the quote-unquote big 3 out there. There's no shame in doing this, I promise. I'm fine with Bradley Beal trying to win a 6th Man of the Year award. Go get your buckets, Brad, with no pressure to make sure other dudes are involved as well. Just don't like what I saw last year. We don't need to get smaller. Next, I think that we will see an all-NBA or maybe even MVP race kind of performance from the third-year player Paolo Banchero. The 6'10 forward is an absolute beast on an up-and-coming Magic squad that might go ahead and grab them enough wins to make them a 50-plus win squad. And to do that, it has to be spearheaded by the modern-day Carmelo Anthony, getting his first All-Star nod last year with a cool average of 22.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, all on 45% from the field. With Paolo continually mastering his craft, I don't see why he couldn't end up averaging around 25 points, 8 rebounds, and maybe up to 7 assists with the addition of KCP, on top of having young guys who can get better at hitting threes, such as Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, and maybe one day Franz Wagner can learn how to hit a three. We cannot have another season of Paolo making the defense collapse just to end in a Franz brick. And Banchero will definitely let you hear it.
Boards, 10 assists. Oh, Banchero.
Let's also talk about the trade that happened here not too long ago. And that is the Knicks receiving Karl Anthony Towns in exchange for sending Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I wanted to make a whole video on this topic, but I'm honestly still stuck with how I feel about it. For those who don't know and may be wondering why the hell the Timberwolves wouldn't just run it back with the same squad that got them to the Western Conference Finals, it's due to 2 young players whose contracts are going to be up at the end of the season, in Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, if the Timberwolves did end up keeping Cat, there's literally 0 chance they get to keep those 2 young studs who have proven to fit better with Anthony Edwards' timeline. And at the end of the day, if you're the Timberwolves management, that is absolutely priority number 1, 2, and probably 3. So this move was much more of a necessity than anything else. Oh yeah, and Dante DiVincenzo coming off a career year is kind of a steal for the Wolves, just saying. From the Knicks' point of view, I'm kind of torn. On paper, this should be an absolutely amazing fit, having another 3-point shooter, and for it to be one of the best stretch bigs in the league's history, it sounds ideal for the roster they got over there. But I do have to question whether or not Cat will be ecstatic to play the 5 over there, considering he's been playing that power forward position for the past 2 seasons. But then again, who's to say he can't go back to his old self being a big man? I also wonder if Cat will feed off the energy of the hustle guys like Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges, or if he'll be holding them back from their defensive peak, considering he will now be the anchor to that paint on defense. I really want the Knicks to be good. I do, I promise, but I just gotta see it on the court first. Going back to the West one more time, I wanna go ahead and say that Victor Wembanyama will be a top 5 player in his sophomore year of the NBA. With the addition of 100-year-old Chris Paul, I think Wemby will elevate to another level that people will have to consider him a top 5 player. Being regarded as damn near the best defender in the league already, you gotta think that past his prime Chris Paul will do whatever he needs to get the ball as close to the rim as possible for Wembanyama. Hear me out, I could see a stat line of 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal, in turn making him a top 5 player in the league. And lastly, for my finals predictions, I'll start with the East and be boring. The Boston Celtics are going back to the NBA Finals, ladies and gentlemen. Another year of this exact same roster, and the 2 main superstars on their team are coming into the season with a chip on their shoulder after all that BS from the Olympics. They still also have key pieces under contract like Derek White, Drew Holiday, and even though he won't be ready for the start of the season, Kristaps Porzingis. I don't have much else to say, except that I don't think they're going to win it all. We haven't seen a repeat since 2018, and I think the streak will continue once the Oklahoma City Thunder go ahead and beat the Boston Celtics for the 2025 NBA championship. I disrespected the hell out of these guys in my last year's prediction, not even mentioning the Thunder being a team who would finish in the top 10 of last year's seeding, and I'm not making that goddamn mistake again. With the big 3 of MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the still underrated Jalen Williams, and the second year of playing real basketball Chet Holmgren, these guys just added more pieces to make the previous first-seeded team even better. Shipping off a guy they couldn't even play in the postseason for Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein was exactly what the doctor ordered. This team is stacked with defensive guard play in SGA, Caruso, and Lou Dort, and offensive guard play with SGA again, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Kenrich Williams. And now that one of their biggest issues, not having a big sturdy backup big who can grab rebounds, is solved with the addition of Hartenstein. I mean, good lord. This SGA-led team will be the one to avenge the 2012 OKC squad that lost in the finals, to give the city of Oklahoma the rightful championship that they've been so ready to attain. This will finally be their year. But what do you think, Dash and Hoopers? Do I have way too much faith in this young OKC squad? Is the choice obvious in terms of Boston just going ahead and repeating? Also, a special announcement for everyone who made it to the end of the video. Dashing in the Streets is coming back better than ever this year, as we set the insane goal of going to every single NBA stadium this year to go catch a game to interview the fans at their home arenas. From LA to New York, from Orlando to Dallas, you name it, and we're gonna do everything in our power to get there and hear from you guys. So if you wanna be up to date for the games that we will be going to, make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to see if we're coming to your hometown, and if you'd like to get interviewed by us here at Dash and Hoop. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, but most importantly, y'all have a phenomenal rest of your day.